Good afternoon, I'm Andy Heath, eCommunications Officer for Wyre Council. I'm here with my colleague Paul Woodhouse, who's the Senior IT and Systems Software Engineer. So we've been invited here this afternoon to talk about our CRM CMS integration. We've got Jadu 1.9 and Lagan Kana variant CRM version 7.011. So the first question most people ask is actually, where is Wyre? So, where is it? There is no town called Wyre. We're at the northwest tip of Lancashire, just above Blackpool. We're a little coastal town. We've got Fleetwood, Cleveleys, Garstang and Polton-le-Fylde. So we're a small district council. We've got 50,000 residential properties, 107,000 residents, and we're a diverse mix of wards covering some of the most deprived in the UK through to affluent rural wards. So from our last census data, it's shown that a third of our residents are over 60, and over half of our residents are actually over 45. So our website was launched 3 years ago now. It is, to my mind, quite a clear, fresh design, but it probably focuses too much on its brochure homepage now. It was built by the Jadu UX team. We average about 40,000 visits a month from 28,000 visitors, and since the 2010 Socket and Better Connected, we've been rated as 3-star. So we're the local planning authority, so we do actually rely heavily on the Jadu PlanX module. So over the last 12 months, we've actually invested quite heavily in our CRM CMS integration. And our initial thoughts for the integration were probably oversimplistic. We wanted CMS to talk to the CRM. We wanted submitted online forms to go through to make CRM cases. Expanding on the specification, we quickly actually realised that a number of questions needed to be answered along the way. So we wanted the Jadu registered users account on our website to be linked to the customer account in Lagan, so that the two were tied together. It will allow at present changes to the customer's name and changes to email addresses to be reflected within Lagan, but we're hoping to expand on that with future development. Lagan doesn't use the standard property UPRN, unique property reference, as used by the NLPG, so we had to use the Lagan property reference to index our cases. And our current use of X-Forms meant that when an email came into our mailroom at Wyre inbox, we have a scheduled sweep program that looks at that mailbox, picks up any cases that are coming in, sweeps them into Lagan, and then they wait as incoming mail. This is probably very similar to the way that most of you work with eForms now, that an operative then has to rekey and reclassify each of the incoming mail items. So what we actually wanted was, when an X-form came in, it was given a classification event code, and it tagged itself automatically to the work queue. So we wanted to be able to CRM forms without having any technical knowledge. So the CRM actions had to actually be built within the forms builder, and that any forms completed anonymously could still be CRM, so we didn't have to capture contact details. So how did Jadu do this? Magic. Well, nearly magic. In a simple way, on submission of an X form, it produces an XML file that gets passed into the Lagan Web Services, and then Lagan has got all the data that it needs to create the case. So how are our forms actually connected up? I need to find where the mouse is now. So when you've logged into the CMS and navigated through to the X-Form control panel, you'll see that it gives you a view of the form. Once the integration's live, you'll find you've got a new tab at the top called CRM Schema. From each branch of your form, you can have different schema sets. So if you've got branching enabled, you can actually go for a different classification depending on the route of the form. For each of the schemas, you need to set a number of values. So the party ID is if a customer is not logged into the form, so they're completing it anonymously. The classification event code is the code for the work queue that it's actually going to end up in. And then you need to make sure that the case data fields match your CRM case fields. So if a customer registers on our site, then the Jadu account record is linked to the Lagan record. So allowing them to change their details on the customer account page in Jadu will automatically update some of the details in Lagan. Where's the mouse gone? Back of the page. So from our home page, you can click into the sign in. It takes you through to the page that's waiting for your email and password. You quickly fill those in. From then, if you jump to the change your details page, you can see that here my forename's set to my Sunday name. This is Lagan CRM, this is Virtual Office. So if I do a search on my customer account within Lagan, so jumping onto the back to your change your details page, we can see that when we save that, it's changed the details on my customer account page, which is you would expect. But then jumping back to Lagan, we can actually see that it's changed that value as well. So that's in its simplest form, that's updating the CRM straight from the website. So onto our online reporting. Once the integration had actually settled in, we realised, due to internal discussions, that we needed to extend on the functionality that Jadu provided us. Especially, for example, for fly tipping cases, we needed to be able to geocode the responses from the customer and have them visible and allow management information reports to provide hotspotting reports. So the objectives of our additional functionality for online reporting were we wanted to give the customer an easy way of reporting issues. We needed to capture only the relevant information. The completed forms had to land in the correct queue, and if possible provide our officers with the tools to locate the issues as quickly as possible. And extending on the functions that were created by Jadu, we actually found that we could pull information back from the CRM, display it on our live site, so we could display live cases on a map. So using fly tipping as an example, this is our fly tipping landing page. When you land on there, you get the familiar Google map. We're using KML from mapit.mysociety to outline our ward borough. You can see we've actually got open CRM cases showing there. So that case was created on the 22nd of May. If we jump into our CRM, we can see that this is the exact same case, created at the same time. It was created by the Jadu integration, so that allows us to have management reports so we can identify who's actually created that case. And because the customer wasn't logged in when they created the case, it's been logged against the anonymous user. So if we go to actually reporting a new case, where's the pointer gone? My videos don't work as nicely as Solage's. It is a video, there we go. So again, we use the ward boundary that's provided by mapit.mysociety. In the grey area, which is the outline of our ward, we've actually set it so you can't click outside of our boundary. That's so people can't report cases outside of our area. If you do click within our boundary, you get a pop-up. We've also got the Google address selector set up there, so the results of the Google address search are weighted to our borough. So type in a search result for my street, jumps me to the centre of my street to the centre of the map, and pops up the report fly tipping link. So clicking on the link takes us through to the online form. We pass through a couple of extra values in the URL, one being because you need to skip over the instruction page if you want to pass any data through to hidden fields. So that's the page number equals 1. And then we're also passing through the Latin long, which is the Google geo-coordinates. So we'll start filling the form in. We've got a branching question first that just skips over an extra page. This form's got an integrated form field that does an active lookup on the CRM database. So that's where it's getting the Lagan Lagan address field from. So searching for Peace Place comes up with the address, and then we'll quickly go through filling the form in, and these are just the standard report it form fields that most people have got. Fill in my contact details. Now you don't have to fill these in because they're not mandatory questions, and we'll submit the form. So we've got the form reference number that's provided there. That's actually an amalgamation of our Lagan reference number and the Jadu eForm reference number. Jumping into Lagan and pasting that into a case search. We can see that the case is there, that it's been allocated the same reference number, that it's been classified into the fly tipping work queue, that it's registered against the address that I did the lookup for, that it's an open case, so it's been allocated to the area officer, that it's been raised by the Jadu integration customer, and because I was actually logged into the website at the time, it's been logged against me. So that's quite important because all CRM interactions are logged against the customer. So I will have a trace of that in my record. So that's the form fields that we filled in. And we've also got the lat and long there showing. If an officer wants to bring up the point where the customer actually clicked on the map, we've got the open in Google Maps link at the bottom. So open in browser. That then brings up the Google map, showing the customer, well, showing the officer internally, the pinpoint on the map where the customer clicked. We've also got a couple of extra links that you might have seen there. One is for open in the Apple browser and view iPad driving directions. Our area officers have 3G iPads that they can deal with the cases on the move. So this actually brings an extra layer of value to that because they're out on the move. They can get the email notification coming through about the CRM case. They can jump straight to the maps and see where the case is. So if they're in the area, they can deal with it as they go. One of the other areas for us was the online bin collection calendar. Our old calendar was a classic ASP access database script. It was woefully out of date, with many new properties weren't on there, and we couldn't add new properties easily. The collection rounds were down to the crew drivers, and any changes or updates to the data was actually from one of the officers. And a change to our waste contract, we went into partnership with Veolia, and the possibility of a Lancashire-wide smartphone app meant that we really need to get our data in order. So what hardware did we actually have to work with? Every bin wagon has Bartek in-cab units. So they map out the rounds for the drivers, allowing us to update or change the rounds literally on the fly. They also give the option of exporting the data out to external systems. So the crews can instantly report issues with collections, so they can feed back when they've completed a street or if there's a contaminated container at an address. The data is passed back to the CRM every 2 minutes via 3G, and any cases that need to be raised are raised on the CRM system. So it actually gives us a real-time integration with the CRM. Because of the integration with Jadu, it meant we could actually start presenting this data out to customers on a website. So as a customer lands on our Manage My Bin page, there we go. It's actually a custom script that sits outside of the Jadu CMS, this page. So they type in a postcode, they're presented with a list of the addresses relevant to that postcode. They actually have to select an individual address for the magic to work, for it to be able to do something with it. The results displayed, it initially gives them the basic information they need, so you can see that the bins are collected at this property on a Wednesday. It gives them the option to download a printable PDF calendar. I think everybody kind of does this kind of thing. We've also added another link on there that allows them to download an ICS file. Now if they're on a desktop PC, they can download that and it'll add it to Outlook as an event, or if they're on a mobile, it'll actually add it to their mobile calendar as a scheduled reminder. As we move down the page, we actually notice that we split out each of the individual containers. So we've got our containers split out with the last attempted collection and the next time that we're going to attempt a collection. So we're on a rolling fortnightly. Every other week we've got green and recycling, and then we've got the grey bin. You actually see that the last attempted collection there's actually highlighted an issue with the collection. Pulling back the data from Bartek, from the CRM system, from cases raised against an actual property, it allows us to find out if there's any issues with a collection. So in this case, we can skip down the page a little bit, and it actually shows us that the contractor reports that the grey refuse bin wasn't presented for collection. So that's as the drivers have gone down the street, they've noticed the property, there's an issue with it, they can report that straight back. That then creates a CRM case, CRM case then gets presented to the website. So if there is an issue with it, so a missed bin, and there's an e-form related to it, then we can actually give them the option of filling the e-form related to that case. As we move further down, we'll see that we've actually got a list there of completed streets. I said before that one of the options within Bartec is that the drivers can actually click on to complete a street. So by clicking the completed street, it then raises a case in the Bartec unit raises a case in CRM against that street. Because it knows my property is on that street, it then presents that data out through the CRM integration. If there are any scheduled disruptions to service, we can put in a bulk change for dates. So we can say for Christmas, for example, that there'll be a bulk change to whatever date. That's then presented out to the customer there, and we can also change the data on the fly as well. So the final area for us was online payments. We needed to take payments through online forms. We didn't have the business case for the purchase of the Jadu ePay module because of the limited number of online payments that we'd actually take. It actually meant then thinking about a different way of accepting online payments but still being able to record the transactions. So we've got Northgate Paris. So we needed to get the payment confirmation from Paris and add it somehow to our CRM. And expanding on the functions that Jadu had actually created with the Lagan integration meant that we could actually do something quite neat with this, because we start to use the resident parking permit as our proof of concept. So as we land at the residence parking permit landing page, both new and renewals are kind of led through the same form. So we've got a bit of branching there to handle the different costs. So we'll quickly go through filling the form in. Again, that's the integrated component that does a search on the postcode, presents the Lagan address back. So I'll fill some more details in. We'll select new permit, so we'll actually be charged £25 for the privilege. When you submit the form, should have sped this up a bit more. You'll see that we've got the unique reference there. That's again the combination of the Lagan CRM reference and the Jadu X-Form reference. That we need to pay £25. And with the ability in version 1.3 of X-Forms to amend the completed page, we can actually add in a stylized HTML button, which will actually kick off an XML post out to our Paris payment page, which populates the shopping basket with the form details and the amount. So this is the horrible Paris online payments page that we have to deal with. So we quickly fill in, I've skipped over the bit where I put my credit card details in. And then this then jumps out to the 3D Secure, because it's all dealt with by Paris. So I'll skip over that part now. I actually purposely put in the wrong details on the 3D Secure, so it didn't pay £25 to Wyre Council. So the payment was actually unsuccessful. This is a result page that comes back now. So it tells the customer that the result was unsuccessful. And then this is the case in Lagan that's been raised at the end of it. So what we've got is you can see the address details. Probably can't see it very well there. So that's actually been logged against the CRM team because they deal with it. It's been raised by the Jadu integration. There's my card details in there, my contact details. But more important, we can actually see at the bottom that the Paris payment details have actually been logged. So at the end of it, the Jadu integration has logged that the payment has failed with the CRM. So the contact center officer can sit there and they can see that if a payment's successful, that it's gone through, that it's been dealt with immediately. So some of our outcomes. Online residence parking permit applications are now at 23%. That's from the first online application form was submitted on the 20th of March, so we're just over a quarter. Fly tipping, over a 6-month period from the form's launch, we're now at 26% online submissions. Our newest form is the request a new bin. We actually had quite a lot of internal reluctance to add in this form because the service didn't want to be seen to be advertising the option of having a new bin because we don't charge for them. So, but it was one of the contact centre's primary calls coming in through the phone. So we put the form live, and we actually went live with this on the 11th of May, so last month. And our May contacts are now standing at 21.4% for e-contact, with a shift from face-to-face of 2.6% and a reduction in phone calls of 15.1% just for that one service alone. So we've actually done no promotion on that bin and on the request a new bin form. We've just added it to the page, we've added it to the search, the A to Z, and people are just finding it. So there's no massive promotion about it. So the Jadu integration actually delivered solid foundations for us to build on. The end result was only achievable on our budget because Paul and myself can work in close contact. We've got a very small project team. There's me and him. That's it. So it does cut it down to the simplest form of agile working, because we can sit down, we can code, and we can develop what we want to. But again, without the initial capital investment and the work that Helen's done for us at Jadu, we wouldn't be able to achieve it. Thank you very much.